Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I think it's time that we fully appreciate just how early we are to the party. Us, as XRP holders specifically. There's some major news today. This really is massive. This is the headline from A&B Crypto. Jack Dorsey Square buys $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So, yes, that Jack Dorsey, the one that also runs Twitter and Square. And this is in line with something that I've been saying you're going to continue to see as time passes, which is more and more publicly traded companies are going to be purchasing cryptocurrencies. Now, to start, they're all purchasing Bitcoin. It was here first. It's the most liquid. It has the longest history. It's got the most notable track record. As a result, okay, fully recognize all of that stuff. So even we can still set aside all of the major technical problems. It's energy intensive. It's costly. It's slow. It's not the best blockchain. It's just the first one, and I still appreciate it. And I'd like Bitcoin to have staying power. But what do you think's going to happen down the line? Do you think that, given that it seems like an absolute certainty that there are going to be a number of long-term winners in the crypto asset class, it's not just going to be Bitcoin, and that's if Bitcoin ultimately is one of the winners. It very well may be. Okay, I don't want to get into a discussion about that really in this particular video. But what about the rest of them? Do you really think that as it becomes more and more crystal clear that there's going to be additional winners, that companies that are interested in diversifying into the cryptocurrency asset class, they're not going to touch XRP ever? Not ever? I don't know, man, but I don't buy that. And I'll tell you, so here's what's exciting to me. Among many, but there are many things that are many reasons to be excited. But to me, it's that we have the opportunity to purchase XRP specifically, before the idea of buying any cryptocurrency is on the radar of almost any publicly traded company. And so what we've been seeing is, yes, the retails entered the world of crypto first, by and large. And now you're seeing more institutional investors come in, like a ton of them actually in 2020. And now you're beginning to see publicly traded companies purchase cryptocurrencies. And to me, this is something that's of substantial importance, right? Because even though they're buying over the counter, which means that kids like you and I will purchase on spot exchanges. Pick your exchange, whether it's Coinbase or Binance, whatever the hell it is, whatever you use. Those are spot exchanges. And the price action that occurs there, those types of exchanges, is what determines the market price. And so larger entities, in order to not disturb markets, they purchase over the counter. And so all of this Bitcoin's getting sold. It's all getting scooped up by these, at least a couple publicly traded companies now. And it's not moving the price $1, 1 penny. And that's because it's being purchased from other entities. And that is not what's being used to determine the market price at all. It's just two separate, two parties that are making the transaction happen. But that's not where the information in terms of price action is occurring. The data that's pulled by the likes, Live CoinWatch and CoinMarketCap. That's not where they're getting the data, right? And so that's how you get all these huge transactions that don't ultimately affect the price. Right. And so look at this. And I want to briefly touch on this to make sure everybody's aware of this. I've talked about it on the channel, but for a video like this, I got to at least mention this. This is from Decrypt.co. This is September 20th of this year. So just a couple weeks or so ago. And this one was titled, How MicroStrategy CEO Went from Bitcoin Basher to $425 million Buy. And so here is a publicly traded company that put in damn near $500 million into Bitcoin because they considered all their alternatives, all the other options out there, including commercial real estate, gold, this or that. They considered everything. And they decided that the best place to put it was Bitcoin. And it was not done on a whim, and these are not stupid people here. And so and it was interesting because you've got Michael Saylor, and here's his Twitter account. On December 18th of 2013, he tweeted out the following, which is funny. Bitcoin's days are numbered. It seems like just a matter of time before it suffers the same fate as online gambling. And again, that's 2013. Michael Saylor, CEO, that less than 7 years later tweeted this out. This is September 15th, 2020. On September 14th, 2020, MicroStrategy completed its acquisition of 16,796 additional Bitcoins at an aggregate purchase price of $175 million. To date, we have purchased a total of 38,250 bitcoins at an aggregate purchase price of $425 million, inclusive of fees and expenses. And it's funny, and I'm not trying to give him a hard time. He doesn't remember even tweeting that out. He had no idea, did it? He tweeted it. 7 years passed. It wasn't at the front of his mind exactly. He never thought about it ever again. And then people dug it up after he started purchasing a crazy amount of Bitcoin. And so this is interesting, but it comes down to, a huge part of it just comes down to they had too much cash on the balance sheet, and it's just like, it's like an ice cube that's melting, I mean, he had some sort of funny analogy in a interview with Anthony Pompliano where he's like, just imagine if we had all of this cash like sitting in somebody's backyard. It was something to this effect, and say it's $500 million, and then say that the federal government comes along and lights 2% of that on fire every single year in perpetuity. Like that's what he said, which I thought was kind of a funny response. Like the federal government's effectively lighting it on fire through inflation by debasing the United States dollar through the endless money printer, right? And so it's interesting because obviously other publicly traded companies are going to see this. So I think if you wait another 6 to 12 months from when that happened, because it does take time for a company to consider this, and then if they're going to pull the trigger, ultimately do it. But I think if you wait another 6 to 12 months, you're going to see a bunch more activity along these lines from publicly traded companies. This seems to be the way that it's going. And I think this is ultimately going to bleed into other cryptocurrencies, including XRP. But this is the starting point. And so this is not terribly surprising me that this is what we see first. You can see the piece from A&B Crypto says as follows. Jack Dorsey-led payment business Square announced today that it has purchased 4,709 bitcoins worth $50 million at the time of writing. According to Square, the premium cryptocurrency was an instrument of economic empowerment and paved a way for everybody to participate in a global monetary system. The firm claimed that this move would empower and enrich everyone. Now, think about this. Consider the timing of this, because as I record this, Bitcoin's a little shy of $11,000, I think. I didn't check right before recording this. I just know it's somewhere thereabout. And in March, they could have spent that same amount of money and purchased Bitcoin at under $4,000. And so I thought I'd mention this because this is something that I always say on the channel, like, to me, it doesn't make sense for someone to beat themselves up for not being able to buy the bottom of any particular market cycle and not being able to sell the top. It's not realistic. So it's more like just dollar cost average in, or if you're Square, apparently just plop it all down at once, good enough. But if you're in there for the long haul, I certainly anticipate that it's going to end up turning out just fine. I would certainly anticipate, as long as the crypto asset class is going to be here forever, and I believe that it is, and as long as Bitcoin's going to be here forever, which it certainly could be, if you just have a long-term enough mindset, the prices today, whether you purchase at 4,000 or 11,000, whatever, it's the same for XRP, though. That's how I feel. This isn't financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my everyday Joe Schmo opinion. But because I don't have a financial background, so don't buy or sell because of me. But I firmly believe that this crypto asset class is going to outpace the S&P 500, and we already know that keeping just stupid amounts of cash in your checking account is a terrible idea, because it's like the government's just coming along every single year and lighting 2% of it on fire. And actually, inflation is going to be increasing. I'm not calling for like hyperinflation, but I suspect, based on what we're hearing from certainly the United States federal government anyway, that we're going to see increased inflation here. But Square's invested 1% of their total assets into Bitcoin. 1%. Which, I know that's a small percentage, but it's still $50 million. So like they're hedging here, don't you think? But again, so 1% into Bitcoin as of the end of the second quarter of 2020. Square's chief financial officer, Amrita Ahuja, might have said that right, probably not, whatever, who vouched for the fact that Bitcoin had the potential to become a global currency of the future. And here's a quote. "We believe that Bitcoin has the potential to be a more ubiquitous currency in the future. As it grows in adoption, we intend to learn and participate in a disciplined way. For a company that is building products based on a more inclusive future, this investment is a step on that journey." And so I would say, this is just part of the maturation of the cryptocurrency asset class. Again, like I said, I think this will ultimately happen for XRP. And certainly, I acknowledge, I cited that buying over the counter in and of itself doesn't impact immediately the price of Bitcoin. And so if it happens for XRP, it won't immediately impact the price of XRP, because again, it's over the counter sales. That's not what's taken into account in terms of figuring out what the open market price is on spot exchanges. But even so, it does affect supply and demand. So even if there isn't an immediate impact on price and it doesn't move the market, it's going to matter regardless, because that Bitcoin that they're holding, somebody else can't hold it because Square is holding it. So it's still ultimately going to impact the space. It's just a little bit less direct, and it's going to take a little bit longer for that impact to be felt, but it's real. And so the more companies you come in engaging in this type of activity, the greater the multiplier effect. And so that's why for me, and so even if I'm wrong, and publicly traded companies never have any interest in holding XRP, this is still the maturation of the asset class. And so I do want Bitcoin to do well. And I do like seeing this. I would like Bitcoin to have staying power. I hope it does. I don't know if it will. I really hope it does. Right now, the market says yes. And so as long as that continues to be the case, we see that XRP and every other cryptocurrency on the planet is just right now following the price action of Bitcoin. So it's great for XRP regardless, and we are here first, which is why I suspect that XRP will be worth substantially more than it is today at some point in the future. And I don't make price predictions. I always acknowledge I could be wrong about all this. I'm not a financial professional, but I firmly believe what I'm stating here. I believe XRP is going to be worth a ton more in the future. And since it's less liquid than Bitcoin, you're going to see much greater multiplier effects the next time there's a parabolic run for XRP. And here's a tweet from Anthony Pompliano. Individuals have been using Bitcoin as a reserve asset for a while. Corporations are right at the beginning of using Bitcoin as a reserve asset now. I do agree with that. We're seeing that. I'm highlighting a bunch of evidence in this particular video. And then he writes, eventually central banks will use Bitcoin as a reserve asset as well, just a matter of time. Well, we'll see about that. Federal governments, they like them some fiat currency, and especially the United States federal government. I mean, I'm not going to say no, they won't ever hold Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but man, what's that going to look like? Because they're printing the global reserve, the United States dollar, so we shall see. Oh, and then, of course, I'll mention this before wrapping up, too. This came from Jason A. Williams right here. And he's co-founder of Morgan Creek Digital Assets, so that means that he works with Anthony Pompliano, and wrote, breaking news, Square invests $0 in XRP. So clearly, the Morgan Creek crew not fans of XRP. And it's funny that was brought up, because there are over 7,000 freaking cryptocurrencies, but these Bitcoin maxis always have XRP on the mind. What is it about that? It's just freaking crazy here. And so Stewart XRP responded with, you really feel threatened by XRP. I can smell your fear. Don't play top trumps with XRP unless you like losing. So I get it, man. I totally get it. I think that if individuals on the Bitcoin maxi side weren't threatened by XRP, they wouldn't be talking about it. Just like they're not talking about the other 7,000 freaking coins all the time. But XRP lives rent-free in the minds of Bitcoin maxi trolls. Oh, it's pure silliness. Oh, Bitcoin maxi trolls. Just go back to your bridges, Bitcoin maxi trolls. Go ahead, hang out there, stay warm by your dumpster fire, eating your room temperature cottage cheese, which is the favorite meal of Bitcoin maxi trolls. There's just something about it. They just love it, man. But there we are. So I'm happy to be here. October 2020. I purchased as much XRP just about as I'm comfortable doing. And I'm just going to hold. I'm just going to absolutely hold, and I've got it before the vast majority of institutions that will ultimately be here, as well as the rest of the world. It's less than 0.02% of humans on the planet that have even one XRP. Happy to be here first. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!